everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. I hope you all are having a fantastic day today. So today my goal is to get some of my vining plants under control. So I don't want to say that I'm going to prune them. I'm going to prune some of them, but a lot of them, like my honeysuckle on my trellises back here, I'm going to try and not prune too much, because if you prune back before they start flowering, it will affect their flowering, and I want them to flower as much as possible, because when they do flower, the scent in my yard is amazing. But you can see they're getting a little out of control. This one has completely fallen off of the top of the trellis, so I have to start training it over, and then I just need to kind of train the crazy little pieces that are growing out all over the place. So I might prune some of it just to keep it under control, but really I'm just going to try and train it is what I'm planning to do. And that's for the honeysuckle. Then over here, I'm gonna go slow. Over here on the south side of my house, I have my Bougainvillea, and that I need to train as well. I pruned this guy hard last fall because I had let it get a little bit too out of control, and it was starting to go over the windows and everything like that. So I need to tie all the new growth onto the wire just so I can keep training it in the right position. Let me show you the third thing that I'm planning to do today. So the third thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to come out and I'm going to deal with my ivy espalier. And honestly, this is something that I usually come out and I deal with about once a week. I just get some new growth. Let's see, like here's some new growth, and then here's some new growth, and I just come and I just prune it off. It's really, really easy. The thing that I want to stay on top of, and I need to stay on top of, is that I just go through and I run my hands along behind here just to make sure that the ivy isn't attaching to my siding. There's a lot of concerns with me growing ivy up my siding, but that's one of the reasons why I have this wire here, so that I can wrap the ivy along the wire and it actually doesn't touch my siding at all. So as long as I stay on top of it and I keep it keep it away from the siding, I think it's perfectly fine, and I think it's safe for the siding, and I think it looks beautiful. And so I think that's the most important thing. So I am going to come out here and I want to show you guys just how I quickly just kind of trim off and keep the diamond pattern looking nice and clean. So I will attack the honeysuckle, get that all tied up. I'll attack the bougainvillea, get that all tied up, and then I'll come out here and I'll address the ivy as well. So let's go. Okay, so I'm going to start with the honeysuckle, and the three things I really need. I need this garden tie, which is basically wire covered in this soft, I don't know, like rubbery type thing. And I got these at the dollar store, which I think was fantastic. It's lasted me like a year and a half. I'm just about out now, so I need to go get more. And they actually didn't have any more at the dollar store when I went the last time. But I know I've seen these at the garden center, just obviously a little bit more expensive. But these are my favorite because I feel like it doesn't pull at the plants or anything like that. So I really like these, and I've just cut them down to size. And then I have my pruners just in case I do want to prune any crazy vines off or anything like that. But again, the main thing that I'm going to be focusing on today is more training it, because I want to allow the honeysuckle to bloom first before I do a hard prune back. And if you guys do have Hall's japonica honeysuckle, Hall's Japanese honeysuckle, they do recommend hard pruning this, because otherwise it'll get out of control. It can grow up to 30 feet tall. And when we had our oak tree was really overgrown, and it was kind of coming down to the trellis and almost touching the trellis, the honeysuckle was actually growing up into the oak tree and started climbing its way up into the oak tree. So luckily I caught it in time and I could prune it and cut it back. And now the oak tree has been kind of trimmed up, so it's nowhere near touching it. But when you choose to put vining plants into your yard, you have to be really responsible about it and know that they can get out of control very, very quickly. So it's a touchy subject for some people, because, I don't want to encourage anybody to plant an invasive plant or a plant that's going to get out of control in their neighbor's tree or anything like that. But if you do it responsibly and you know what you're dealing with, it can be absolutely beautiful. Jason and I went to High Hands Nursery in Loomis the other day, and it was the most gorgeous nursery I've ever seen. It had climbing fig, I think that's what it was, climbing fig like over every vertical space you could find. It had climbing fig on it, and it was so romantic and so beautiful, and I loved it. If you guys live anywhere near here, go to High Hand Nursery in Loomis. They even have a restaurant in there. It's absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to go back when it's a little bit like more in season. I think I'm going to take my mom there. But that's the look that I love. I love the vining plants, you know, growing up the side of the walls and up trellises and up arches. I love that look. And so I know that I have to put the work in to manage that so my yard doesn't get out of control and make my neighbors mad and everything like that. So just wanted to say that for you guys. But if you're responsible about it, you know, it's gorgeous. So I'm gonna get started with my honeysuckle now. Oh, and the third thing I was talking about, I need my step stool because obviously I can't reach. Done back here. I finished the Bougainvillea, and I just want to warn you guys, Bougainvillea has the sharpest, most painful thorns. So I would recommend gloves. Don't do what I do. I actually have rose pruning gloves when I do hardcore pruning on the Bougainvillea, and it's really, really helpful. But it looks really pretty. One thing I will say is that there are like suckers that will come off of the bottom of Bougainvilleas, and so you just kind of have to watch for those. They'll have absolutely zero color on them, and they'll look different, you know, kind of like rose suckers and everything like that. So I mainly just, you know, prune the tips off of everything to get it to flush out a little bit more, and then just kind of trained the different vines on the wires where I wanted them to go. So this is all done. So I finished all the honeysuckle over here and over there. And I ended up taking like pruning a lot more than I thought I would, just because I was pruning it off the back and making sure it wasn't touching the fence at all. And it had gotten a little bit closer than I was comfortable with, and I felt like with the spring growth and everything like that, it would have started growing onto the fence. So let me show you guys a little bit closer. You can see on the back, I just kind of shear it off. Like I don't even care what it looks like because I don't want it to touch the fence at all. And over on this side, I don't want it to touch my neighbor's fence at all. So I just leave a nice gap behind there. And then the front looks all lush and full. And once it starts blooming, it'll bloom out. I left a lot more on than I will later on in the season because I want it to bloom first. You can see that it's starting to get the buds all over. Right there, there's a bud. Right there, there's a bud. So it's about to just start blooming, and it's so, so beautiful when the honeysuckle blooms back here. It just, like, you just want to spend every single moment back here. There's buds all along there. So I don't want to sacrifice that. I will prune it later on in the summer after it finishes blooming, and I just won't worry about it. Let me show you guys over here. So these are the first 3 honeysuckle that I put in. So these are the oldest, and you can see they're obviously the most well established. So what I'm working on doing is I'm working on training both sides so that they connect over the trellis. So it's basically like 2 arches of honeysuckle over my limelight hydrangeas. That's kind of my goal. So let me back up a little bit so you can see. Okay, so yeah, so it would be like an arch of honeysuckle there and then an arch of honeysuckle there. And I think it'll be so pretty. So I'm not pruning these. I'm just kind of wrapping them around so that they don't hang down over the honeysuckle or anything like that. And then I do like to clean up along the bottoms so that the runners don't kind of spread out everywhere. My girls don't like it when I do that because the birdies hide, you know, they have like little they call them little caves that the birdies hide underneath here. And so they don't like it when I prune the bottom, but it gets out of control if I don't prune the bottoms, you know, and I don't want the honeysuckle to like root in anywhere or anything like that. So this is how I keep it really contained. It's worked really well for me. And, you know, I'm willing to stay on top of it. And that's why I think it's totally worth it. So the last thing I want to do is I want to go in the front yard and I just want to quickly prune my ivy espalier, and I want to show you guys how I do that. And right here is how much I ended up taking off. So basically a whole wheelbarrow full of the honeysuckle and the bougainvillea. Hi you guys, Janie here. So it was right about this moment when I sliced my finger with my pruners. PSA, those things are sharp and you should be wearing gloves and slowing down and being careful. I ended up having to go to the emergency room and got 4 stitches. I'm totally fine. It was my fault. I wasn't being careful, but I just want to let you guys know why this clip kind of just stopped halfway through. So while I was waiting for Jason to come and drive me to the emergency room, I managed to film an outro with this video, which looking back is ridiculous. I don't know what I was even thinking, but you can probably see the pain in my eyes. So anyway, I am totally fine. My finger's fine. It's healing right now. However, that is why this video is cut just a little bit short. So I appreciate you guys watching and be careful with those pruners. Okay, you guys, so you can see that's about it. It's pretty quick, pretty easy. I just run through and quickly clip off any like crazy vines that I have out here on my ivy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it gives you some motivation to get out there and maintain your yard. If you did enjoy this, please consider subscribing, and I hope you all have a chance to get into your garden today.